Okay.
All righty, we'll call the meeting to order. Tiffany, please take the roll.
Councilman Bundy,
Present.
Councilman Brennan,
Present.
Councilman McCain,
Present.
Councilman Stokes,
Present.
Mayor Sykes.
Present, let the record reflect that we do have a quorum for the Monday, January 10th, 2020 meeting at 6 p.m. Would anybody in the audience like to get up for 3 minutes? Come on down.
First time I've been here, so what do I do? Say my name, Suzette Poole, and my address, 1186 Southwest Gillespie Lane. I would like to know what you're going to do at the corner of Isaac and Gillespie, seeing as how you're putting, and it's wonky, as you said in the last meeting. It was your words that said wonky, and he had said, I could barely hear on the tape, but we have something in the works.
Well,
So,
yeah.
I would like to know something about that. And also, in the last meeting, I didn't get to go to the planning and zoning meeting. The commissioners, they make the decisions and then give it to you guys and so on and so forth. Somebody had asked if they had read the comprehensive plan, and they were joking about it. I guess they hadn't read it or anything. This is actually their job by the statutes, because they're making all these decisions. And if you don't read it, how can you make an informed decision? Have any of you read the comprehensive plan? You have? All the way through it?
We have meetings on it quite a bit.
And so, has anything changed in it?
There's certain things that we bring up every year, and and we discuss it and we go from there. So which really quick, while I'm writing this down, is it commissioners, those commissioners?
Planning and zoning.
Oh, planning and zoning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it states in the comprehensive plan of your guys' analysis that the residents have a lower median income, and for the last 2 decades that it's been at the poverty level, that you're losing, there's workforce leakage, so basically a lot of people are working in Boise. So who's going to support all these houses being built? Are our taxes going to be raised for this infrastructure that you're putting in? Because who's it going to hurt in the end? It's going to hurt all the veterans, like myself, my husband, that are living on a certain income, because you're going to keep raising the taxes, and who's going to pay for it? Us and our taxes, our homeowners' taxes. So, thank you.
Anybody else? All right.
My name is Misty Pierce. I live in the Donetta subdivision. How's it feel to be ignored? Not listened to? Because every time somebody comes up here and makes a complaint, it just goes over your heads. You don't care. You act like you don't care. You make decisions without taking in consideration all the concerns of all the constituents that you work for. And believe me, you work for us. We pay your wages. We vote you in, you are elected to represent us, and you're not doing the job.
Ms. Misty. Anybody else? All right. Run down to conflict of interest declaration. Has any council member received information pertaining to or otherwise had any contact with any person regarding any items on the city council agenda? If so, please set forth the nature of the contact. Councilman, anything? All right. Consent agenda. Any questions, comments,
Mayor?
anything you want to pull?
Do you want to do the staff update topics first?
Oh, I guess I probably should do the staff update topics. Tiffany?
All right, I just want to confirm that everybody replied to the AIC officials day. Okay. Becky signed up. Rich, you're gonna go now? Okay. Council Brennan, you're on the list. Okay. And then the council workshop, our first one will be February 1st. It's a Tuesday. On that agenda right now is the public art policy. And I just kind of wanted to know if any of you had any off the top of your head. And I believe the EDU discussion that will be just briefly discussed about later tonight on the agenda. So. But if you have any others, if you'll just shoot me an email so I can add it to the agenda.
Okay. Do you have a time for February 1st?
It'll probably be 4.
Okay.
So, and they're not, the work groups will not have action items, it's just general discussion for better understanding to further come back to the council meeting. So, okay. Oh, and then you all got the email on that, development that the county sent over. I was the only one that was sent to, so I want to make sure that everybody else got that, because that's out by the airport.
Yeah.
So everyone, you all looked at that, and I do have a map. Brock was nice
Yeah.
enough to put these maps together if you guys need them.
This is the one on the corner, kind of by going out. Big turn. Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure you all got.
Sure.
Yeah, most certainly, Tracy, we can.
Trace, we'll give you this one.
Yeah, I have one. Here you go. Sorry, I feel like I'm just throwing it at you. There you are. Yeah, so I
That's
just,
this one, right, Brock?
yeah, it actually came into my junk box, and I noticed nobody else but me and Chief Moore were on it, so then I forwarded it on to everybody else. So I just want to make sure you all had that. And that's all I had.
Council, do you guys, oh, go ahead, Councilman
Jeff,
McCain.
Development Services didn't get a copy of this,
No.
because we always used to get copies of that. Hank needs to be aware of that, so we can definitely get the economic development and public works. Thank you.
You're, well, sorry. Council, do you want anything else to be on that workshop? Ms. Garvey, would you like anything?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman?
I might want to talk about the personnel policy on there. I'd like to address maternity leave, paternity leave, and possibly the bereavement policy.
Oh, this is, go ahead.
Do you want it on that specific night, Councilman Stokes, or just in one of the upcoming? Because they will be monthly.
Okay.
So I just
We
was
could do
kinda-
March for that. That's not a big deal.
Yeah, no, I think I'll just keep a running list, and if we have, for burnout, or we have more time, we'll just keep going.
Cool.
Okay, perfect.
Mr. Mayor, I got a question, a point of clarification. For these workshops, are the public invited to them?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep, okay, or open meetings, all open meetings.
Cool.
It's the law. Okay, we'll go down to consent agenda. Councilman Stokes. A through J, anything like to be pulled? You guys want to ask any questions? Anything that, any questions, I guess?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Brennan?
Give me 1 second. I was just comparing a couple of different maps here that I just got. Let's see here. I have like a personal dilemma, right, with items E through I that's been passed by a broken tie vote. Part of me wants to just vote to deny, or not to deny, but just not vote in favor of findings of facts and the ordinances that are coming later. Part of me says maybe the council would go with me to just make some inline changes for the findings of fact. Specifically, in here, it just talks about that. I know, like, we are one body as a body of a council, and the attorney might tell me to be quiet here. But when in the language of the findings of facts, I'm trying to shuffle papers and talk so I can find it, but I can just go with it. The findings of fact uses language like the Planning and Zoning Commission, city staff, and the city council agree that this is in line with our ordinances and all that. And if the council would so allow me to change the language similar to the minutes on our the minutes of our city council meetings, where we can identify that it was a split vote and a broken tie that happened, or individual named councilman, whatever, something that identifies that the council, the body of four, do not agree.
So just add something, add clarification.
Right.
Paul,
So
can we do that? Sure. Okay. What would you like to add?
anywhere that I think the council obviously would have to agree, since Councilman Stokes and I were kind of on one side of the argument, and Councilman Benny McKean were kind of on the other. But something to the fact that the council being split, the mayor broke the tie, and it was, and
I should have put that in, like, for example, I wrote that it was a 7-0. I think I put in that there was a 7-0 vote, but P&Z, I should have said there was 3-2.
okay.
So at a very minimum, yeah, that we could, by interlineation, we could add that part. And if you want to add any specific notations that you and Councilman Stokes indicated, so that, for example, when it says staff, city council, and P&Z said blah, you could say Councilman Stokes or Councilman Brennan said X, if one of them, if the council said ABC, you said DEF, and you said GHI, then that's fine.
Okay.
Because then it reflects a split vote.
Like, to be specific, and it talks about the I believe it's the 5 items for annexation, and one of the 5 items is very specific to, I don't have the ordinance in front of me, but I wrote down some notes. 9-6-4 subsection D talks about the leapfrog development that I think Councilman Stokes and I agree upon, and 9-6-4 subsection E, which is the city limits need to be squared off and not irregular in shape. And so, amongst many other things that I have problems with this development, those are 2 items that I believe do not fall in line with our ordinance and lead me to where we came up with. So, amongst the ones for
Brennan, can I interrupt you a second?
Yes.
I want to make sure I don't miss it. You frog and what else?
Irregular in shape and square.
Yeah, irregular in shape, squared off. Squared off and not irregular in shape.
Gotcha.
So, I don't think there's any stopping it at this point, but if we could make those annotations, I suppose. And they are multiple spots within the one for Runway Estates, and also the one for
Falcon Crest.
Falcon Crest, thank you.
Mr. Mayor? Councilman Buddy?
I don't oppose stating that it's a split vote.
Yeah, Mayor, that's fine with me also.
Okay, so to the extent, if I could
Yeah, I'm
read-
okay with that.
If I could read this back to you, then, we don't have a maker of a motion yet, but if the maker of the motion can state that I move to approve the consent agenda and letters, whatever to whatever, with a change by interlineation as raised by Councilmember Brennan, that the findings for Falcon and for Runway be amended to reflect that it was a 3-2 vote, and that also, among others, that the findings as it pertains to annexation, as to leapfrogging, and as to irregular shape be reflected, that 2 of the 4 council members did not believe that was fulfilled.
Yeah.
And so if that's the maker of the motion, hint, that then if the second can reflect that, and then you can get there.
Can we, keeping it in the consent agenda, do it on items like, where's my thing at? Yeah, E through I, and make that one comment for all of those.
That's what I was
Is that okay?
thinking you meant.
Yeah.
I just didn't
Yeah.
know the letters.
And I don't, who do I ask? I don't know, I didn't like redline every time I saw that in those documents, Brock, but,
Those findings of fact are his.
There.
oh,
I wrote,
Okay,
okay. No,
so I know where to fix it.
okay,
okay.
perfect. And as far as that, that's all I have, Mayor.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Stokes?
Since we're on that topic, and we all got in writing the letter from Miss LaFever about Idaho Code 67, 65, 32, subsection 2 and B,
6535.
535, yep. What do we have to do according to Idaho law to follow the law?
And I talked to her just before
Okay.
the meeting today about this. So, under that code section, it was just added to the statute. Just added. Here's how time flies. It was like 2011 or something. But what it used to be, so her request for reconsideration technically is premature, because what the statute says is that within 14 days after the city council approves the findings, fact, conclusions of law, you can seek a reconsideration. If you don't do it within those 14 days, it's deemed waived, and then that's over. This happens all the time, where it's like, well, is it 14 days from when the city council said aye and nay? Or is it 14 days from when they pass these strange findings, fact, conclusions of law? So everybody always is like, and so you err on the side of caution, you make sure you get those things in. The Supreme Court has recognized that, so if it, despite the fact that it's filed prematurely, it will, quote, ripen into a mature one the moment you guys pass the findings, fact, conclusions law. Now, in order to, there's going to be two questions I have for you, but at the very minimum, before you address the motion for reconsideration, you probably got to let the applicant know of that. And so what I told Ms. LaFever, I'm saying that right, is that it's timely filed. And I said, I on record, really on record, saying it is timely filed. It doesn't matter about today, but in short order, at your next meeting, for example, you need to address whether you wish to entertain it for reconsideration. There's going to be some hoops to jump through on that, and so you guys need to consider it, and I will coach you through that. But again, it's timely filed, her request is there, and then you guys, and the other thing that's the most obvious question is, what you're doing right now with the findings, fact, conclusions of law, that's old business. That's what the city council as it exists, the entity that made the decision. Ironically, the reconsideration motion is going to be on a new watch, which creates its own set of hoops to jump through, because in the reconsideration of it, you're going to have to play catch up, which you have 5 minutes, so good job. Obviously, we can't, that's the other reason why you can't put that upon a new council member to be like, whoa, and expect that to happen, so there you have it.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Stokes?
Can I ask a question illegal about that? Because Mrs. Garvey hasn't heard all the testimony.
That's my point.
Okay,
She gets to play homework. She
okay.
has to do homework. Because the reconsideration would take place, it doesn't usually happen this way, where the decision is right before a change in the city council. Mathematically, it could always happen, just on when the application is processed and all that stuff. But in order for you to be able to make a meaningful decision on that, you're gonna have to do a little bit of homework, to carry back on it, in order to rule on the reconsideration, so,
Mayor.
that's all.
Councilman McCain?
Now with Councilwoman Garvey kept catching up on everything here, what is she allowed to actually listen to? Because we listened to so much and had to throw it all out, and we had to concentrate strictly on the public hearing that we had.
So your
So
decision.
what can she listen to if somebody decides to email her today and start talking about that? Can she listen to any of that?
Okay, that's very, very good question, Councilmember McCain. No, you're not to take in any new testimony or any new things, so emails that somebody might email you about tomorrow or things of that nature. No, that would be strictly prohibited on that. But you're entitled to know everything of what they knew, and what they based their decision on is, one, the staff report, two, the findings of fact, conclusions of law that were done by P&Z, 3, the public hearings that were done at P&Z, 4, the public hearings that were done at City Council. And then you can maybe go to sleep at night and hopefully get any rest at all. Although that'll put you out, trust me. My point being is that anything that the City Council heard in this forum is fair game for you, and in fact you are legally required to make a meaningful decision based upon the testimony that's been presented. So there you have it. A little unfair to you, I might add, but
Just slightly.
but you put in for this.
I was gonna say, you guys are just throwing me in feet first.
You've been paid to get here.
So Brock, really quick, do we need to do anything with J, or we can leave that one there? It's just number 4 that I need to drop.
Correct.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's what I need to know. All right, Councilman, anything, other questions, poll? Obviously, we're gonna fix E through I after a motion is made.
No, J's a different development.
Yeah.
So is there anything else on the consent agenda, Councilman? You wanna make a motion and do the
I'll try.
All right, Council. All right.
It's stated by the city attorney.
Can I do that?
I believe you can.
All right, perfect. Mr. Mayor,
Except you're about to show off, so I want to see that.
I can show off. I'll bet. I'll make a motion to pass the consent agenda with corrections to items E through I as so stated by the city attorney.
Second.
The motion in question, any further deliberation? Brad, you're gonna make me laugh, too. Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Stokes?
Aye.
Councilman McCain?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilman Bundy?
Aye.
Alrighty, any things that were removed? There were none. Run down to ordinances. Action item, ordinance 1729, annexation of Lot 2, Block 1, Falcon Crest.
Mayor,
Councilman McCain?
I'd like to make a motion that we suspend the rule reading with this ordinance and read it in title only once.
Second.
For that reading tonight, excuse me.
The motion is seconded. Any further deliberation? Hearing none. I'll call for the question. Councilman Bundy?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Nay.
Councilman McCain?
Aye.
Councilman Stokes?
Nay.
Mayor votes aye. Tiffany, please read the ordinance.
An ordinance annexing to the city of Mountain Home, Idaho, the real property hereinafter described and declaring the same by proper legal description thereof to be part of said city of Mountain Home, Idaho, and providing an effective date.
Councilman, you've heard this ordinance read. Do you wish it to pass? Councilman Stokes?
Nay.
Councilman McCain?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Nay.
Councilman Bundy? Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
oh, excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, never mind. I know she's gotta read it first.
All right, we'll do it. Number 2, action item, ordinance 1730, zoning C4, Lot 2, Block 1, Falcon Crest subdivision. Councilman McCain.
I'd like to make a motion that we suspend the 3 reading rule and read this ordinance by title only with by title only for its one and only reading tonight.
Second.
The motion is seconded. I'll call for the question. Councilman Bundy? Aye. Councilman McCain?
Aye.
Councilman Stokes?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Nay.
All righty. Now you got me all. Now you got me messed up, Councilman.
I can't do it anymore.
All righty. What am I missing?
Me.
Just to read it.
Oh, sorry, Tiffany. Will you please read the ordinance?
Yeah, Brett Stokes got me all messed up here. An ordinance of the city of Mountain Home, Idaho, declaring the real property hereinafter described to be Falcon Crest C4 zone, subject to limitations of allowed use, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict here within, and providing an effective date.
All right, Councilman, you've heard this ordinance. Do you wish it to pass? Councilman Bundy?
Aye.
Councilman McCain?
Aye.
Councilman Stokes?
I'd like to explain my vote because everything around this is commercial, so this is appropriate. I vote aye.
Okay, Councilman Brennan?
Nay.
All right. Number 3, action item ordinances, 1731, action item of Runway Estate subdivision. Councilman McCain?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we suspend the 3 reading rule and read this ordinance by title only for its one and only reading tonight.
Second.
It's been motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Stokes?
Nay.
Councilman Brennan?
Nay.
Councilman Bundy?
Aye.
Councilman McCain?
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. Tiffany, please read the ordinance.
An ordinance annexing to the city of Mountain Home, Idaho, the real property hereinafter described and declaring the same by proper legal description thereof and to be part of the city of Mountain Home, Idaho, and providing an effective date.
Councilman, you've heard this ordinance read. Do you wish it to pass? Councilman Bundy?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Nay.
Councilman McCain?
Aye.
Councilman Stokes?
Nay.
Mayor votes aye. Alrighty. 1732, ordinance 1732, zoning R4 PUD runway estate subdivision. Councilman McCain.
I'd like to make a motion that we suspend the 3 reading rule and read this ordinance by title only for its one and only reading tonight.
Second.
It's been motion and second. Any further deliberation? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Stokes.
Nay.
Councilman McCain.
Aye.
Councilman Brennan.
Nay.
Councilman Bundy.
Aye.
Tiffany, please read the ordinance.
An ordinance of the city of Mountain Home, Idaho, declaring the real property hereinafter described to be runway estates, R4 PUD zone, subject to limitations of allowed use, repealing all ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict with herewithin and providing an effective date.
Councilman, you've heard this ordinance read. Do you wish it to pass? Councilman Bundy.
Aye.
Councilman Stokes.
Nay.
Councilman McCain.
Aye.
Councilman Brennan.
Nay.
All right, action item number 5, ordinance 1733, zoning R4 PUD Paiute Place.
You gotta break
Oh,
the tie.
I vote yes. Sorry, Tiff. I vote yes.
You got the last one, I heard you.
All right, 1733, zoning R4 PUD Paiute Place.
Mayor,
Councilman McCain.
I'd like to make a motion that we suspend the 3 reading rule and read this ordinance by title only for its one and only reading tonight.
Second.
It's been motion and second. Any further deliberation? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Bundy.
Aye.
Councilman Brennan.
Aye.
Councilman McCain.
Aye.
Councilman Stokes.
Aye.
Sorry. Tiff, please read the ordinance.
An ordinance of the city of Mountain Home, Idaho, declaring the real property hereinafter described to be Paiute Place R4 PUD zone, subject to limitations of allowed use, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewithin, and provide an effective date.
Councilman, you've heard this ordinance read. Do you wish it to pass? Councilman Stokes.
Aye.
Councilman McCain.
Aye.
Councilman Brennan.
Aye.
Councilman Bundy.
Aye.
Alrighty. All right.
That was harsh.
All right. Council. Who wants to go first? Anybody?
Comments?
Yep, council comments.
Mayor,
Councilman McCain.
I would like to just tell Councilman Bundy how much I appreciated working with him for the last 4 years, the last 2 years, excuse me, being with him for the last 4 to 6 years, I don't remember, to where, but he's been a great asset to the city.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Brennan.
I can second those comments there. It's been a pleasure to work with you here. Always so calm, cool, and collected. Unlike me sometimes. So, it has been a pleasure, and I wish you well in your future endeavors in the State House.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Stokes.
Councilman Bundy, it's been a pleasure. You are always so calm, and I love that about you. Good luck teaching our youth and spending the $1.6 billion the state has extra. So.
State employees.
We had some words, and I want to reach out to Colette. Thank you for sharing your husband with the city of Mountain Home. I know sometimes being in office is real rough. Sometimes it's a phenomenal joy, and from the bottom of my heart, I want to tell you thank you so much for sharing him, and just obviously you're his rock. You're the one that keeps him on track, I should say, and. But I want to reach out to you first and say thank you for everything that you've done for the city as well.
That is definite. Thank you, Colette.
Thanks.
So, I didn't know what I wanted to say, Mr. Bundy. So bear with me here. So over the last 6 years in my life of being mayor, I've learned a lot, and if you're a person that's truly lucky, and I mean truly lucky, you get to come across a path of a person that gets to mold you, or maybe teach you is a better word. I guess I digress. I'll say mold, teach, it doesn't matter. But how about molds you or makes you a better person? That doing what is right is more important than being popular. Making the right decision, knowing that you're going to upset people, is also the right thing to do. When you're around said person, they light up the room of such positivity and conviction and hope, and sometimes with a little bit of humor as well. Sometimes they're the best looking guy in the room, or just a humble teacher speaking German to the high school foreign exchange students in council chambers. Inside joke between Councilman Bundy. I guess he's the better looking guy in German. In that term, or should I say meaning, Mr. Bunny, you are said person. I want to thank you for seeing the vision that supports the mission, the values, and goals of the city and the citizens. You've made history with the city of Mountain Home, which stands on a firm foundation of your character, integrity, and most of all, phenomenal morals as a councilman and honestly as a friend. You'll go down as one of the best to sit in that seat in the city department heads, and I truly mean that. So Becky, you don't have to fill anyone's shoes. You fill your own shoes. But in my 6 years of all the councilmen I've had, you know, that's from the bottom of my heart. May I always remember that. And don't make apologies for it either. Because of you, this community and the city sparks with new hope and light and optimism for a brighter future for our citizens. You and I have not always agreed on every decision up here, and sometimes just plain argue about the path or the plan I wanted to take the city. While even disagreeing, you've taught me that God had a plan for me, and I could never go wrong following it. And I thank you for that as well. I might also say your unwavering optimism has shown me that it's all right to be upset with something, but never let it control you or let it shadow my own light. That it's all right to be upset for a bit, but then let it go. Try to see the positive in people in every situation. I've taken those lessons to heart and practiced every day. That's what's kept me sane for these past 4 years I've had you up here, or 6 total for me. As you always say that I am the bull in the china shop, but at least I know where I'm going. You also call me the man in the arena, or should I say the men. I think we are the men in the arena. I'd like to read you what I gave you, you gave me years ago, but I'm not going to do that. So what I've done is I've gotten you your own man in the arena. It's on its way. So hopefully you'll hang that placard up high at the State House while you represent the citizens of Elmore County. With that, I'm going to, this one? Yep. On behalf of the city of Mountain Home expresses its sincere appreciation for Matt Bundy, City Council. Appreciation is a wonderful thing. It makes what excellence in others belongs to us as well. One town, one team, January 2017 to January 22. And a nice gift card that if you're so inclined, you could take me to dinner, or probably the better looking lady back there than me. But thank you for everything you've done. Thanks. All right. The floor is yours, my friend.
Tiffany told me that there was a time limit, so.
I didn't put it on here.
And you just
And I just exceeded it. I do, since we do have some folks in here that are interested on the budget surplus. I think everyone's going to be very pleased to hear that we're going to be looking at some tax reductions and some tax reform, as well as that money going back to the taxpayers is where it should go, in addition to some one-time infrastructure money. But I think that the big news out of the surplus is how fiscally responsible the state of Idaho is, and that lead has been taken by Elmore County and the city of Mountain Home with our perennial. We're always running a good, solid, fiscally responsible budget, and we saw at the state level that has given us the opportunity to revise some tax laws and to, for the second time this year, give some people some tax money back. So it is, you know, you think about what you want to say, and today I started the first day of my next venture, my continuing venture. I was down at the State House today, and as I listened to all the things that we're going to attempt to do in the legislature, you know, every so often you get asked, why do you do what you do, and why are you a public servant? Why do you put yourself out, and why do Becky's going to do a great job. I'm comfortable that this seat will just continue to be a seat of good thoughts and good things. So I appreciate the fact that you jumped in and ran for this office, and that Councilman Brennan ran again and reelected. I'm comfortable that the council is going to do well, that you're going to have your new council learning, but you guys are going to do the right thing, and I'm very comfortable with that. But as I was contemplating, and you notice sometimes I talk with my hands, when I notice I talk with my hands, you don't quite know what to do with your hands. But some of you might have noticed I have kind of a fun little bracelet on my wrist, and it dawned on me that's why I do what I do. This it's a little Idaho with the colors of the Idaho flag. My 12-year-old granddaughter made this for me, and she wanted me to wear it on my first day down at the Capitol today, and I did. But really, the reason that this reminded me of why I do what I do is we become elected officials so that we can not only preserve Mountain Home and Idaho's past, but we can be a part of our great future. And we are always working to preserve what's now with an eye to the future. And that's why these developments are so tough. That's why infrastructure is so tough. They're so important because when we walk away from this office, we want to give the next person in the office something to work with, so that they're not playing catch up on infrastructure, they're not playing catch up on our future needs. So that's the one thing that I think that as a council we've been able to do. We've been able to get ahead of some infrastructure projects, and we've been able to do it in a smart, very fiscally responsive way by combining our resources with the state, the county, grants. And we put together that downtown plan at a fraction of the cost for the Mountain Home taxpayer when we were able to work with Idaho Transportation Department, the Department of Commerce, and the county, and then do a lot of in-kind work. We were able to do a tremendous amount. And you know, other communities noticed it. I get people at the state come and say, how did you guys do that big of an infrastructure plan in Mountain Home? And when I tell them, and I was just talking with Director Healy today from the Commerce Department, we are one of their shining stars. They love to talk about us. And also, when I'm working with Director Spackman on the Water Council, people from around the state and other states take notice of the way that we have planned our water in this community. Past mayors, we go back a decade or so, those mayors started to get groundwater rights. They started to get senior water rights. And they're also doing these in conjunction with water needs in the county. So my new job, as much as I've loved this job, is to continue to take care of Elmore County's needs at the state level. Water is huge, tax relief is huge, smart growth. And this is why I think these discussions are so valid, to make sure that it happens right, that we follow all of our rules, and that we do things the way that we should. But that said, I had a chance to talk to all the department heads the other night, so that was a nice opportunity for me to tell them thank you, and for all the great work that they've done, and their expertise and their knowledge and their friendship and their camaraderie. So with that, I think I will make a motion here just a second, and then I'll take my sweet wife and pass the gavel to Councilwoman Garvey and you folks, and I trust you guys, and I know that you guys will reach out to me with your needs that I can handle in my other functions. But that's the thing that we need to learn and develop is trust, and that's where we are. And I just really want to tell everybody how much I love Mountain Home. I've been here for over 20 years. I've never lived anywhere longer than I've lived in Mountain Home. I was blessed with a 20-year Air Force career, I've been blessed with living here in Mountain Home 20 years now. Colette and I have been extremely blessed and fortunate with all of your friendship and the ability to be here and to be a part of this community. So that said, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we adjourn sine die.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we will sine die.
There wasn't a vote on the same day. You couldn't leave.
Oh, I guess we didn't vote.
We're good. So you're not done yet. Get back up.
Get up. Yeah, I forgot. Sorry. All right, it's been motioned and second. I'll call for the question. Can we go back on record? All right, sorry, I'm going to call for the question. Councilman Bundy?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilman Stokes?
Aye.
Councilman McCain?
I don't know. Aye.
I veto it. Where's my veto stand? No. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sine die.
Okay, we're doing ladies first.
Have Chuck take it. I was gonna say have Chuck take it.
I should have Chuck read it to her because with his neck you were both nervous earlier. But I don't want you to stand so it looks like the flag's in your head. So someone make sure the photo's right. Chuck, make sure her photo's right before we.
Don't give me COVID, anybody.
Well, it's not. It looks weird. Like the flag will be poking at your head.
Looks great. We got a football
All right.
game.
I'm gonna take mine off. Okay, right hand.
Okay.
I state your name.
I, Becky Garvey,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Idaho,
and the Constitution of the State of Idaho,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of counselor
the duties of counselor
of the City of Mountain Home, Idaho,
of the City of Mountain Home, Idaho,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Welcome aboard. Do you want a family photo?
Yeah, I was gonna say, come here, you guys.
He's
All
such
right.
a husband, isn't he?
I know, it's like,
Yeah,
I go
that's
up
your
there.
chair.
Yeah.
Wear the hot suit on. He said there's football to watch. I'm like,
I totally agree.
Who's playing tonight?
Georgia and Alabama.
Georgia, Alabama. Again.
I know, I was like,
I think you're straight.
thanks, guys.
Hey, did you want Bundy's paper? Do you want us to shred those or?
Oh,
Snap to attention.
I forgot all these.
his are way cleaner than mine. I
All
spilled
the
coffee all
colors
over
are
mine.
over here. Oh.
All right, are we ready? Okay. I state your name.
I, Daniel Brennan,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Idaho,
and the Constitution of the State of Idaho.
and that I will faithfully discharge
And I will faithfully discharge
the duties of counselor
the duties of counselor
of the City of Mountain Home,
of the City of Mountain Home,
Idaho,
City of Mountain Home, Idaho,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Councilman Brennan, welcome aboard. I have a record somewhere.
I'll just pretend like I'm doing it anyway.
Afterwards.
What's this afterwards with everybody?
4 years of fun.
There you go.
There we go. Looking good, guys. Good job.
Nice work.
All righty, we'll call the meeting to order. Tiffany, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Garvey,
Aye.
Councilman Brennan,
Aye.
Councilman McCain,
Present.
Councilman Stokes,
Present.
Mayor Sike.
Present, let the record reflect that we do have a quorum for the January 10th, 2020 meeting. So we will roll into consented, well, actually, you know what? Let me do this. Let me have the, Councilwoman, sorry, Garvey, would you like to say some words?
Yes, I'll keep it brief and short. I just want to say thank you to everybody that voted for me and trusted me, and I'm looking forward to the next several years working for the city of Mountain Home as a councilwoman.
Councilman Brennan?
That'll be hard to get changed over.
Grew up in this office, we're quite experienced.
Councilman Brennan?
The last 4 years have been wild, but you know, I wouldn't have changed it for the world. I'm proud to be able to serve in this office for the last 4, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to serve for 4 more. You know, whether you voted for me or not, I'm here to work for everybody, right? And this is a position I don't take lightly, and I truly do put my heart and soul into it, as I'm sure a lot of you have seen with some of my earlier votes and actions and whatnot. But I hope that you continue to trust in me for the next 4. If you ever see an issue, please have an open door. Come talk to me, and we'll work through it. But thanks to everyone. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mayor,
Councilman McCain?
I'd like to welcome Councilwoman Garvey. I'm glad to see her here, and I'd like to welcome back Councilman Brennan.
I'll second Councilman McCain's motion. That's good. Yeah. Second those comments.
I'll third it, but it's refreshing to have something to see through maybe a woman's eyes up here. So appreciate that. And then Councilman Brennan, we'll have fun, I'm sure, for at least the next 2, right?
You know it.
All right.
I won't let you down.
All right, buddy. All righty. We'll run down to the consent agenda. Councilman, do you want to pull anything? Actually, really quick, do you want me to take off a new business, or do you want me to wait for that, Paul, to drop number 4 off the agenda?
Which one's number 4?
Number 4 is the new business, action item, deliberation decision, planning and zoning commission recommendation to approve planning and zoning recommendation for annexation, zoning R4 for the 10th Street neighborhood by Kasia Cruiser, Steve Taylor.
Pull it now.
Pull it now? Okay, so Councilman, I'm going to pull that off of new business. But then we'll run back to the consent agenda, A
Mayor,
through
is that being pulled from
yeah.
completely?
dropped. Yep.
Okay,
Just
all
with
right.
today's agenda.
Just off of today's, okay.
Yep. That's in the new business. Anything else, Brock, that I missed that you wanted taken off? We're good? Okay, so we'll run back up to consent agenda. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. You got any questions that you want to pull, talk about, get better clarification, A through F?
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Stokes?
I had a question on B, that resolution, just really quickly. Do we get a report of what kind of funds the police department gets from these seized vehicles or property?
Probably want to take that one. Is that the auction stuff?
Yeah.
There should be something in revenue or when we get our auction items.
Yeah, it's a pass-through, so it'll go back into the general fund revenue.
Okay.
But there's pictures of the vehicles.
Yeah, I was just,
Councilman Stokes, specifically B or C's through the police department, so
Okay.
they go into Chief Connor Adair Fund, is that correct?
SIU fund.
Yeah.
okay, cool.
The ones that received.
Okay.
Councilman
I got a
McCain?
question for the chief. Chief, the police cars that were taken in, what kind of mileage do those have on them?
The ones that we're gonna auction off, I think the one of them is 120 something, and the other one is not on display.
Okay, well, I just wanted to let people know that we use our cars until they're no good to wear, so. They've got over 120,000 miles on them for the police department. That's 200,000 for most people. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Brennan?
I have a follow-up question to Councilman Stokes. Chief, did you say it goes into the DARE fund?
No, the SIU.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry. Thank you. And then I'm not sure if this is what he was getting at, but could we? Other than just it miraculously appearing in our budget, could we get a quick report as to what it yielded at auction?
That's kind of what I was getting
So
at.
the stuff that we auctioned in the summertime through Parks and Rec, I can actually get you guys an Excel spreadsheet.
Okay.
Because once the checks come into the auction company, we know what's selling. We have to track that. Like, we're still getting checks from the auction company on all the recreation stuff that went last summer.
Oh, wow.
So, but I will provide that in your next
Cool.
packet.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Stokes?
I had a quick question about item F, and I was just wondering, it's probably for legal, do we need an indemnity clause in that, saying we won't sue you and you won't sue us in that MOU?
BA.
Veterans Affairs.
Just
Yeah, I mean, technically probably not, because they're both governmental entities, and so we're all bound by the same things, but if you wanted to add an indemnity clause, that certainly is, that we would cross indemnify each other.
Yeah.
The only problem I sometimes have with that is, sometimes ICRIMP will say this to us, and it just, legally, it's not accurate, and it drives me nuts every time. They're saying, we can't cross indemnify, another entity, and you'll get that, and then I have to work through it, and then eventually go, oh, yeah, I guess we can. And it's just really annoying. And I fought that same battle easily 20 times in the past, and so maybe they'll balk at it, that the two insurance agencies will say we can't cross indemnify, and so then therefore it would be an out-of-pocket for us, and then down the road, then you see these entities get cold feet, and then we just say, we'll just cover each other type of thing, if that's as clear as mud for you.
That's clear as mud.
Yeah. We're both governmental entities, so it's probably fine to not have it, and if we do seek to add it, just be prepared, we could get blowback on it, and then I'll have to work through that again, that it's not actually a legal issue.
Okay. I just want to
So
make
whatever
sure
you
the
think.
city is covered, that's all, from legal.
If there's anything else, I'll make a motion to pass the consent agenda items as printed.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilwoman Garvey?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilman McCain?
Aye.
Councilman Stokes?
Aye.
Screw you up a few times, didn't it? Going from councilman to councilman.
I've already called her Nina almost like 8 times tonight.
I just
so-
want to hear Councilwoman Stokes at some point. Make my day.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been called worse.
I have.
There were no items removed from the consent agenda. Go down to action item number 2, elect a 2022 council president. Councilman, what do you guys want to do?
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Brennan?
I'd like to nominate Councilman Stokes for council president this year. Disagreements?
I will second that.
It's been motioned and second. Any further deliberation? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Stoke?
Aye.
Councilman McCain?
Aye.
Councilman Beck? Or Mrs. Garvey?
Aye.
All right. Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Awesome. Motion passes. Run down to item number 3. I will try not to screw that up.
Slide that now for this scene. Look, there you go.
All right, action item, deliberation decision on Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation to approve annexation zoning R4 and subsequently preliminary plat for Silverstone North by Providence Properties. So Brock, is this the one we had talked to Fitcher today about?
Correct.
You want to explain that to the council?
City Council. So there was some concerns expressed with this specific item concerning it being adjacent to Pike Place. However, after further review, what is asking to be annexed is property that is not adjacent to the Pike Place roadway. Or, I mean, I shouldn't say Pike Place, that's a development. On the Paiute roadway. Had it been directly adjacent, they would be required to build half of the roadway. However, when it comes to the annexation per state statute, we would also be required to not annex just half of the roadway, but the roadway in its entirety. For that reason, the item on item 4, which is the 10th Street neighborhood. That one has been removed, being that it was not noticed to include the entirety of the roadway. That has since been corrected. After looking into the circumstances that arise with the state statute of annexing the entirety of the roadway, doing some brief research with the mayor, it isn't something that we have always done. So we are currently looking into fixes to make sure that we are compliant with state statute. Further, with the Mountain Home Highway District, we do not have a formal agreement with them for maintenance and how we are going to facilitate the transfer of jurisdiction over roadways once annexation happens. I discussed that with the mayor. We recognize that that is something that we need to do sooner rather than later. Rich and myself, we will be reaching out to the highway district to speak with them to make sure that we formalize that documentation. So any questions just concerning the relationship of this item's annexation with Paiute, which does not exist, if that doesn't confuse you.
So do you have that map? You can show them really quick of what we were talking about, what we sent to Paul's.
Not on my person.
Let me see if I can find it here. Brock. All right, Councilman. How do I show everybody? So this is the subject property, and so that's already annexed in.
Right.
This is what we're annexing in tonight. But you were correct on that other one.
So it's annexed on the north boundary and the south boundary?
Yes.
Okay.
So I think, Brock, if you
That-
like
do with it.
added
Correct.
why this is even a discussion, just maybe because of my email, I mean, because that's what's confusing to these guys, I think, is just.
Yes. So over the weekend, and actually prior to that, Councilman Garvey made me aware that their councilwoman. I apologize.
That's all right.
Immensely. I'm just going to call you all council.
Council people.
Council people.
Council members.
Council members. I was able to speak to Councilman Garvey of a state statute that she was made aware of by the highway district, saying that when we annex property, we have to annex the entirety of the roadway unless we have some sort of deal already sorted out with the highway district before. We don't have that with them. So for that reason, the item, the 10th Street neighborhood, being that we did not notice it as annexing both the property and the entirety of that roadway, in order to ensure that we are compliant with state statute, we are going to renotice it, take it through planning and zoning again, and then it will come to you. We were thinking that we would have to do the same also with the item being presented to you. However, after reviewing the application again, what is being annexed in this development, I love that look. And I can turn on.
There's no road for it to annex, so it's.
Want me to move the flag?
Go ahead. Yep. Councilman.
Brock, is there a representative for the development today?
There is. But just so you see, and here's where it confused me, was what is being platted is all of this. Okay? This little nub's important. The little nub touches the roadway. But what is being annexed does not include said little nub. So therefore, the concern that we had, well, do we need to renotice this one because are we annexing the roadway that is adjacent to this little nub of property isn't valid, being that we are just annexing this big portion without that little nub of property. Understood?
Yeah.
Sir.
Yeah.
Councilman Brennan.
So because the little nub's not included, it's already annexed.
It is already annexed into the city.
Therefore, we don't have a discussion on the roadway? On Paiute?
As far as when it comes to the annexation of that roadway, it's not that you can't discuss the roadway.
Like the
Or-
impact of the neighborhood
Yes.
on that roadway?
Oh, yes, you're
Okay.
able to discuss that. But what can't necessarily be discussed, and I shouldn't probably even necessarily say can't, is what isn't at issue is that the applicant has to also say, hey, we are annexing the entirety of the roadway, which is adjacent to this piece. Because we are just annexing this larger piece. Understood?
Got it.
Okay. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I do have the applicant present, and they can do a brief summary of the proposed development.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Stokes?
I would love a brief summary of the proposed development and the plat and stuff to see it.
Can you make it into?
Is there any way we could dim the lights up front?
Oh, that's my job, isn't it?
Yeah, come on, come on.
Always got it. I forgot.
And the thermostat.
Oh, and the thermostat, yes.
We'll just keep filing stuff.
Duly
Keep
noted.
it cool.
Thermostat always goes down.
Yeah,
in a
it's
minute.
always.
Except if you want the meeting to end, just
Yes,
turn it up.
turn it up.
The power in the first.
Yeah, I know. It's a powerful seat I'm in, I suppose.
Definitely. All right, good evening, Mayor, Councilwoman, council members. Congratulations.
Thank you.
My name is Patrick Connor. My address is 701 South Allen Street, Meridian, Idaho. I'm with Providence Properties, and I'm presenting to you all tonight Silverstone North, which is an extension of the Silverstone subdivision in South Mountain Home. Brought this. Sorry. I'll just click it.
Yep.
How do I go back?
Next week we'll have a touchscreen.
Can't go back.
Next week?
Okay.
Let's just keep it on this.
It's so much easier.
Just click go forward. All right. Okay, so tonight the land use action that we're asking for is annexation of 95% of the property into the City of Mountain Home R4 zoning for the whole property, and approval of the proposed preliminary plat. The whole property is 17.3 acres. We're proposing 49 single-family lots and 14 fourplex lots, and within that there's 10 common lots. Dang it. Okay, well, it's located in South Mountain Home, and these are the communities around it, surrounded by R3 on to Colonial in the north, Ridge Crest to the northwest, Mountain Ridge to the west, Morning View R4 to the southwest, and Silverstone R2 to the south. Within the future land use map of the comprehensive plan, it's designated residential, so it's within compliance with the comprehensive plan. Oops. Oh, no, I'm going the opposite way, Brad. All right, so here's a shot of the preliminary plat. So just moving from left to right. So that 1C lot is what we've already talked about. It's already annexed into the city. The remaining is what we're asking for tonight. On the north part of the property, we have 14 fourplexes, which I'll show you more in detail later. And the rest is being your typical R4. We have a variety of land use lot sizes, which I'll show you. But we have two access points, one to Southwest Paiute Street on the north side and then to Silverstone Avenue on the south. Within the zoning code, R4, we are permitted to do residential structures as long as they're not more than 4 dwelling units on a lot. So that's how we're showing the fourplexes. This shows the different land uses. So in yellow, you'll see the fourplexes. The orange are 50-foot lots, blue is 57-foot lots, and red being 67-foot lots. We want to have a variety of lot sizes in order to appeal to a variety of different people coming in, potentially looking for a home. Whether they're looking for a smaller lot, 50-foot lot, or more of an estate lot with a 67-foot lot, which I'll show you more examples of those houses soon. So these are the smaller 50-foot lots that we would have on those lots that were shown in yellow or orange. These are lots on 57-foot homes for the 57-foot wide lots. They range from 1,200 to 3,200 square feet. And these are the larger estate lots for the 67-foot wide lots, 2,000 to 3,200 square feet. And then here's a rendering of the fourplexes. We're building these in 3 different Treasure Valley communities, and they're being received very well. The way that these are structured is they're each on their own individual lot, but they have one owner. So there's one maintenance company. And so it works that way because it's much easier to maintain, to keep the landscaping clean, keep ordinances nice and clean. If they're individually owned or managed separately, it would be a challenge to keep the maintenance,
you know, keep the lawn crews and maintenance done to the houses to keep it looking clean, as well as keeping everything in line as far as parking and you know, plowing of the roads, everything like that, with the common maintenance agreement. Here's a shot of the landscape plan. We'd have low water landscaping around the fourplex lots. Then there's common space with some trees and for drip watering, because we understand the water crisis that we all live in, as well as having a picnic shelter in that center area. And something that came out of the planning and zoning hearing is on the bottom part, you'll see there's a green strip that goes to an adjacent neighbor. They asked, those particular neighbors came and they spoke to us previously as well, to have water and sewer extended to their property line. The way that their topography works, if they were to get city services at some point in the future, we would be their only way to get it. They would have to go uphill to go to the other street. So we're accommodating them in the 20-foot landscape strip and dragging water and sewer to their property line. And that was something that came out of the planning and zoning hearing, which we are complying with. This is just a snapshot of the traffic impact study we did. So we had a third party do a traffic impact study. They evaluated 6 different intersections around Mountain Home. While there is an impact on the streets, they did not identify any intersection improvements that intersections would fail to a threshold that there need to be improvements at particular intersections. And that, I think, is on public record, and it's part of the submission. So that concludes what I'm presenting tonight. Like I said, we are requesting R4 zone with the preliminary plat that I showed you all. Also, something that came out of the planning and zoning hearing was there is an existing sewer easement that runs along the east side of the property that's also an access road to a couple neighbors. We will absolutely make sure that that is not obstructed and access is guaranteed forever. And also we need to maintain the access there for maintenance on the sewer line. So that is part of the property, but that easement will stay in place and it won't be interfered with. With that, I stand for questions. Any comments or anything?
Councilman, Councilwoman, got anything for him? Councilman, Brennan?
Sir, would you mind going back to the slide with the surrounding zoning maps? And kind of a question for our Public Works Director here. I'm going to refer to it as Silverstone South. It shows R2. My understanding of the history, and I ask you because of your many years on the council, Silverstone South was originally designed to, what word am I trying to use? It was not an entire project by Corey Barton or Hubble Homes. It was kind of I'm not a builder, a smaller scale builder, and help me work through the history. I believe they fell through after building about 10 to 15 homes in that neighborhood, and then either Corey Barton or Hubble or a combination of both came in. Is that right?
Mayor and Council, that is correct. I can't think of who was before that, but
Anderson.
Yep.
Jerry Anderson.
Jerry Anderson only before that. He did build a few of them in there, and then Hubble came in and took over.
Okay. And so I just bring that up to say that in my beliefs, and I hope I don't get shot for this, Silverstone South is basically a direct match to Morning View in terms of lot sizes and residential square footage and whatnot. And so to see Silverstone North R4 against an R2, some might balk at that, but in my mind, knowing these neighborhoods, I think it's a one-to-one match essentially, with a few exceptions in the neighborhood.
Mayor and Council, that is correct. The Corey Barton one. I mean, they had an R4, but they pretty much built it out to an R3, R2. Their lot sizes. That's what they were going to do, because they didn't know if they wanted to have smaller ones in there or not. And I think that's what this one's at an R4, so it can accommodate the fourplexes. So that's why that's in there.
And thank you, I appreciate that. There's 2 access points into this neighborhood, right? The north and the south into Silverstone South. Just call it south, but and nothing else to the east or west. Is that right?
That's correct. No. Well, actually,
eventually
there is an access. There is. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There is actually to the east and the west.
For future development.
For future development.
Okay.
Yeah.
can I continue?
Yeah, keep going.
You're good.
The past council has and we've never voted on this, right? But I think we have a desire to encourage like xeriscaping in the front yards and whatnot. And this isn't a mandate in your PUD request here by any means, but I was curious on your thoughts if through the council's future work sessions that we go through, if we have a discussion where we're willing to take a vote on this, if we made it mandatory before you submit your final plat for xeriscaped front yards for water conservation, because in your the screen that showed like sod versus different types, there's no green on that map for the individual lots, because that's not your maybe that's not your responsibility, that's the homeowners. And so I am very passionate, I should have talked about this earlier, didn't come up, but in our future planning meetings is to see if this council is willing to vote on xeriscaping for until water becomes more plentiful in our community. So is that something you would consider?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely within your interest and in your power to do so. Cities mandate 2 or 3 trees, certain size trees in yards, sometimes xeriscape. So absolutely, I think it's something that you guys should consider. And I think that's something, I don't know if it's necessarily done at this point, whether it's something that is assigned to the building department through the permitting. The thing is, the way that we do it is we offer landscape packages, kind of a base package, and then if they want to do more, homeowner could move into a house with 2 trees in the front yard and pull them out the next day, and we don't have any say on that. So I think it needs to be kind of a greater ordinance, and same thing with sod. They could come in, pull their sod out, put all rock down, and not have to worry about it. So I think it needs to be kind of a citywide, or maybe a blanket ordinance for this area. I don't really know how it needs to be designed.
My goal is citywide for future growth, and it may just be in my mind, right? Not theirs. Xeriscape until until we have more water available to us here, and so citywide, not just your neighborhood. And transitioning to a question to legal, can we pass it as is, and before the final plat comes, say front yards or xeriscape?
That's where I was going to bring that up now. If you are going to approve it now, you would have to approve it as part of the condition of the PUD, is that it would be a xeriscape, and then fashion it how you want to. Because the rights to develop occur at the time of when you can move dirt, which is at the... It's just a preliminary plat? Okay. Well, then you'd make it, then it technically would be a part of like an annexation agreement or something of that nature. Saying...
You lost me there. Can you...
This is an we're annexing?
Annexation, preliminary plat.
So
it's like in the conditions of approval.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you would do it as conditions of approval as part of the annexation of it, because once it's annexed, whatever is an allowed use in whatever the particular zone is, you can't just start creating further requirements on it. So I would tie it to the annexation if you wanted to have a xeriscape requirement to be. You could come in our city, but we all acknowledge we lack water or something of that nature, and then you do it as that. Is the cleanest way to do it.
With it not being on the agenda, can we have a side discussion and vote on that as a council right now?
You could be part of your deliberation right now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Mayor?
Councilman McCain?
I just wanted to make a clarification now. Basically, at our time of proving the preliminary plat, that is our chew at this plat. Once it goes to final, we cannot make any type of major changes.
No material.
This is our bite in the apple right now.
Okay.
So if we want to do anything, we need to do it now.
And you can't have an apple because you'd be xeriscaping and you need more water.
Well, actually, I think we're requiring 2 trees in the front yard or 1 tree in the front yard, depending on the size. I don't think that's got changed yet.
Mr. Mayor, this is great discussion because I've always heard you guys talk about it. Now you want to do it. So I applaud you on wanting to do this. Note that xeriscaping, after speaking to the applicant, and this is just me giving you my recommendation as an urban planning professional, especially as we enter the xeriscape realm. For single-family homes, That really isn't something that the applicant has done. However, I think you could totally say we want the fourplexes to all have xeriscape. And I think what you could do to allow the applicant, just because putting on my economic development hat on as well, telling the applicant that you're going to sell a product that has a front lawn that's all xeriscape that you've never sold before can be intimidating. What my recommendation would be, being that this is the first time, if that's the direction you want to go, having some sort of limit that maybe 25% of the homes need to be xeriscape, or a figure similar to that, because that allows the applicant to have some assurity and a good feeling that we can sell what we've always sold, but also gives them a level of being comfortable that we will do xeriscape on 25% and we can see what works and see what the market will take.
Mayor.
Councilman McCain?
And xeriscape is, to me, is not xeriscape. There's a definition for xeriscape, and it's not just bare dirt or bare rock. There is stuff in that xeriscape, which needs to be part of what we add into this as an agreement that xeriscape don't mean zero.
Go ahead, Rich.
Mayor, Council, that would be my recommendation also, kind of that, maybe that, 25% of the yard is sod and the other part, I mean, that's part of being able to sell it and do that, And studies show that sod does help keep things cool. That's why we had trees put in, because you don't want to drive in here and have no trees at all. There was a subdivision when we first started that there was no trees. You could put a tree if you wanted to. So trees are important in our, obviously you guys know
That's why it was put in
oxygen and everything, so.
So Patrick, do you feel comfortable selling a home with no yard to a family?
I mean, as Brock said, I think it would be nice to have a transition. I completely understand the concerns. I've grown up in the desert Southwest, and I get it. I didn't have a yard to play with growing up. We just kind of dealt with gravel and rocks and whatever. So I like having a yard, obviously, but having the percentage would be helpful. 50%, 25%, however y'all end on your discussion. The way that we kind of designed our landscape plan, at least. In this common area, where the trees are, under that is sod, and then outside of that is gravel or permabark, and then you have kind of grass plantings and things like that. So it's a low water sort of landscaping there. So it's not all sod. You're not watering forever. And so for us, it's palatable, and Brock has had some conversations with us about our appetite about it. I think the transition sort of understanding that percentage would be really helpful. And then we can kind of figure out how we talk to buyers about that, because they may come in with an expectation about, a lush green backyard, and then we don't have that option for them. We can only do so much. So
when you sell it, you can say, hey, you can have this yard or you can have this one. Is that how you sell your homes? Like, you can upgrade the carpet, tile, all that kind of stuff, but then you can have a yard or you not have a yard?
Yeah, we have like landscape packages.
Right.
It's like different levels.
Mayor.
Councilman McCain.
I think I would have to definitely agree that since this is such a new thing that we're bringing on to people, I think with this first one, we need to give them some leeway as to 25% of them, or as Brock was saying, I think 25 or 50%, slowly working into a solid that we want xeriscape in the front yards.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Stokes?
Being an advocate for the xeriscaping, Patrick, and being that we're now talking about it seriously, I would not want to do it with the single family houses on this one, right? I think actually the fourplexes is applicable, but at least those single family homes wouldn't match the other adjoining Silverstone neighborhood, and that might look really weird, really funky. But I'd like to see it with at least the fourplexes,
There's
if
some
that
to
makes
do,
sense.
But I think fourplexes, I think, would be enough on this one.
Yeah.
Mayor.
Councilman Brennan?
Are you selling off the fourplexes, or are you maintaining those as rentals?
We're maintaining those as rentals.
Okay, so the landscaping will be kept up by your company until something changes, I guess.
Yeah.
Big time. Okay. And the single-family homes are going to all be sold off individually. You maintain ownership, fourplexes.
Correct.
Is that right? Okay.
Mr.
I
Mayor?
don't know if you have any opinions, but I mean, I'd like to see, if we're talking 25% of the yard, I would like to see 50% of the front yard. So it's 50% of the front yard. They get a little bit of grass and a little bit of rock or whatever. That would be my meat in the middle, and then a full grass backyard for kids and pets and whatever.
Mr. Mayor, one option for that, sorry, I didn't know if you allowed me to speak. I apologize.
Councilman McCain?
No, I was gonna agree with
Councilman
Councilman
Stokes?
Brennan.
I have some questions, but, all right, you want me to go?
Yeah, first.
Patrick, I was curious if you had a water retention pond on this plat and area.
We do. It's in the top right corner or the southeast corner.
Okay, and then my other
It's not
question.
water retention, it's a storm drain.
Gotcha, and that'll match that park right across that street? pretty much?
Yes, I don't think it'll be as deep, but
Okay.
it's suitably sized for the runoff in this area.
Okay, and then my next question was about the south lots. Do those match the lots on the other side?
They do, yeah, and the width, they do.
Because we had this discussion with Thunderbolt, and we didn't want someone coming in and now having 3 neighbors instead of just one. So we should be consistent when we're making decisions.
They're pretty close.
I see
You
5,
know,
6.
I think they're a little bit wider, and then these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there's 6. 6
Okay.
and 6. And I
Okay.
think that's something that we talked with the plan department about matching those to match common neighbors.
Great.
Mr. Mayor,
Across the street, they're
note
straight.
that there's also gonna be dedicated right away.
Go ahead.
I apologize.
Go ahead, Brock.
But just because you're speaking directly to that, there
Yeah.
will be dedicated right away along here
Okay,
for a road. So these houses won't be directly in the back of these houses.
Right,
Okay.
there's a roadway
Actually,
right
yeah.
away there.
I
Okay.
apologize.
okay. And then Patrick, I had one last question, and it's gonna be about traffic. Traffic coming from southwest Silverstone, taking that left and then the right, and then onto Paiute and Isaac Lane. That is gonna be what I see as a big congested area eventually, and we need to be on that right now, especially if we're talking about Silverstone North and then Paiute Place. There's some duplexes there too. I think the city really needs a plan, probably yesterday, about it. So
So
it's just a wonky area, and I don't know if that traffic study has basically taken into account all the traffic you're already going to get from Silverstone south.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yeah, if you don't mind, Councilman
Yeah.
Stokes. So yes, it did take into account that. So if I just want to reiterate your concern,
Okay.
the concern is about Silverstone South residents potentially going through Silverstone North to eventually access Southwest Paiute.
Yeah.
So he looked at that, and that was a discussion we had.
Okay.
I don't know if I have that sheet.
Because I'm going to do that. I'm telling you right now, I live over there.
Well, and we try to actually, in our initial design of this thing, we wanted to jog the street a little bit to not make it a raceway.
Slow it down,
just
yeah,
slow it down.
yeah.
Also, when we talked to the traffic engineers, I don't have the report in front of me, but they've determined a certain number of people are still going to go west
Yeah.
to go north.
Yeah.
There may be a percentage going through. As far as it building up on Southwest Paiute, I don't know that wasn't a big thing that came up during the traffic study. But
Okay.
I know that we did talk at length about that and how to go through it.
So
And,
Patrick, wait, sorry. Are you,
Oh, and then I guess my last question would be for Public Works or Street. What is the city plan for that wonky intersection?
So can you pull up your street?
Yeah, there's a road that is in there. Who's paying for that road?
That's part of it that was on there.
Probably Kent.
Oops, sorry.
It's probably Kent, right?
Sorry, just
Gillespie?
You were just there a second ago.
Sorry, Kent.
Because I believe that you had some of this, that this was from this one. Yeah, it is. So, because these are the 2 Gillespie ones that
Yep.
we're putting in right now. So when they go to this side, when they tear these out and have to redo that, they're gonna have to have a plan for right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And will it match up with the existing Paiute on
That's
the north?
it's gonna be hard because of because Miss Poole, she's right here.
Okay.
So and how that fits, I don't think it will ever be perfectly straight until this becomes a road all the way through eventually, if this ever gets developed.
Rich,
but, yeah.
all the way over at the end there where this, come down, those houses right straight through there. There's a roadway right away behind those houses.
Right
Who's
here.
putting in that road all the way out to Fifth?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
Right here?
Yeah.
Nobody right now.
But that's an or sorry to cut you off, Rich, it's already access easement and all that through there?
Everything's set up, that it was set up when that was first made, Silverstone.
Yeah.
It was set up over there for that to be a road going
So
through there.
that would be coming, I mean, that would be from whatever impact fees the street comes in, we'd be able to have to do something with that. Or, my guess is development out this way is going to, it would have to really be off of that one too, that'd have to be an exit.
Okay.
Thanks, Patrick. Those were my only concerns.
And I just want to, if y'all haven't been out there, along Southwest Paved Street, they have improved, they have put curb gutter and sidewalk along there in anticipation. It was probably a requirement for the Gillespie duplexes, so that's been done. And also, there's already a kind of a precedent of attached product on that north part there along Southwest Paved.
Yeah.
And the traffic study, as I said, it's maybe in your packet that you can go through there and assess. And that was a big thing that we talked about. And like I said, initially this thing was a straight line, and we were like, we got to kind of separate the two.
And I understand that because you don't want people going 35 miles an hour in the subdivision, right?
Yeah, constantly
On their motorcycle.
Yeah.
Can you go back to the overview of it?
Hang on a sec, Councilman Brent had a
Oh,
question.
I'm sorry.
Our questions for Councilman McCain. The road easement you just mentioned, did that come from Silverstone South, or is it coming from north?
It was the dedicated roadway when Jerry Anderson put in Silverstone 1.
Okay.
The road right behind the houses in Silverstone 1 is a dedicated right-of-way. His south of his houses is a dedicated right-of-way.
Can you highlight
So
that?
so this one was this was dedicated
Right.
here, and they're actually dedicating some more right here to make sure that this is gonna be able to.
So they dedicated the south side of it, and we're dedicating the north
The north
side.
side of
Okay.
it.
Does that easement continue all the way to Fifth?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so what's his name? Tom or Anderson?
Jerry Anderson.
Jerry
yeah.
Jerry Anderson gave, we'll call it half of that road. You're going to give half, but your half that you're giving doesn't extend all the way to.
No, because that would go to the.
Because there's this property right here.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Councilman.
While we're on this picture right here, I wanted just to make a point that with one of the other ones, it was limit city borders to squared off and irregular shapes. That's as close as you can, because if you can see here, this one is not perfectly square up against everything. There's west of it, there's county. South of it, east of it, there's county. North, there's county. You try to keep everything as square as possible. And this, you could look at it, it's not a leapfrog, definitely, because it hits down below. But this is as square as you can keep things. You can't keep everything completely square. It's not gonna happen.
So
Councilman Brennan.
that road easement will only come into effect ever if the Peacock Farm sells
Exactly, yeah.
sells their land.
Yeah.
Okay. And so if no one's building the road, then what's the point of it? I'm sorry. If we're not asking you to build half that road right now, no one's ever going to build it unless unless it's on the city's back.
It would, Mayor Council.
Go ahead, Rich.
It would be, that's why we have impact fees in that's why they pay those things to come in for growth. I mean, different roads that we have to pay for growth, that's what those are from.
You're right. Okay.
So, really quick, Rich, it looks like it's already, that road there's already, I mean, if I'm looking at a map, it looks like it's already there. I mean.
Well, there's a road that goes back here that they used to have
Right.
with the farm and whatnot in here that they went all the way to the back over here. So
But like this,
it's a
easement.
driveway though right now.
Like this, how it goes right here?
Mm-hmm.
All
Yeah.
of this is what I'm talking
It
about.
does, yeah.
That goes all the way back there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they have theirs all set up and weeds growing in it right now.
Trees. Okay. All right, Councilman, questions for Patrick? Yeah, Patrick, sorry. Councilman Brennan?
My final two concerns are, I guess have been brought up, the intersection of Paiute and Isaac and the xeriscaping. I'd like to ask the council now if they would agree with 50% xeriscaping in the front yard only.
Of all the dwelling units, Councilman Brennan, or just the fourplexes?
All of the single-family homes with maintaining his plan of low water, the blue low water for the fourplexes.
So dryscape for the fourplexes, 50% for the individual homes.
50% of the front yard, which would be 25% of the whole yard.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Patrick.
I just want to, I think we should define xeriscape. Is that like zero water at all?
No.
Just drip hoses, or is it?
Just drip system is xeriscape if, you know.
That's what I mean, we need to just
Trees and
define
shrubs.
what we're gonna classify xeriscape as.
And Councilman Brennan, in my opinion, this discussion is good, it's valid, we need to have it, but it might be better to do it at a council workshop.
Yeah.
Sorry. Where we can all get together with the public and say, we're moving this direction, let's not impose all this undue honor on this particular development. You know what I mean? I'm all for it, but.
Go ahead, Rich.
Mayor Council, I know if we look at, I'm gonna pick Morning View for a second. I know they've really been working on doing that in some of the front yards. So like where their fences are, it's pretty much, they have, the gravel or something between where the fence is between the two property lines, and then grass. So, because that's where they've been trying to retain some of their water, because each site has to retain their water. Each of the each lot has to keep their water on their own area. So, I think they've really been. We've stressed that with different things, and I think the developers kind of are trying to do that also. So, you know, I mean, I think that's one thing that they've really been trying to be conscientious about the water use, because we ask them that all the time. So.
Go, Patrick.
If I can say something, I think maybe you could put the limitation in the front yards on the amount of sod.
I just had that thought.
Because sod is where all evaporation happens, right? If it's you know, if it's a couple shrubs and trees, you can do drip systems. That doesn't use hardly any water really. It's the sod of people just running their sprinklers without programming right. So I think the limitation could be on that front yards.
Limiting the front yard to no greater than 50% sod.
I think that'd be fair, and that'd probably get to where you want to go. And then in the meantime, you guys can.
And that way it doesn't completely bind
come up.
And that way it would not completely bind your hands on trying to sell something with no front yard.
Yeah.
To where I think I'd go along with that, yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
So do I hear a motion, Councilman?
One more thing.
Go ahead, Councilman Brennan.
So, Brock or legal, have you guys told us that we have no control over Southwest Isaac and Paiute, what'd you call it? Wonky intersection at this time?
So, I'm going to hand it over to legal. So you can definitely speak to the impact that it will have on adjoining roads. The only thing that isn't mandated per our code or state code is that we have to annex with this proposed annexation and preliminary plat a portion of the roadway.
Each one at the top.
Yes, kind of that northwest line. Okay.
And we're not, that road is not the subject of this application.
And
It's outside.
So we
Could we take the impact fees, I'm not saying this is gonna happen, right, again, don't shoot me, and do a forced annexation of a little bit of that corner of that intersection with that?
Not impact fees. Impact fees is pursuant to a capital improvements plan. You have a long drawn out plan on what you're gonna do with impact fees that.
You can't use it to buy a chunk of somebody's property. You could put the road in once you bought it. Is that what I'm hearing right?
Yeah, well, it's not for capital acquisition, like eminent domain type thing. That's not what capital improvement plan, or that's not what impact fees are used for.
Okay.
But I'm sure, I mean, Richard know better than me on this, and you have a capital improvements plan on what you're going to do to improve the road systems as part of the transportation aspect of it.
I didn't have time to kind of get through and look at this, but I do believe when we annexed the two, well, the Gillespie property in front, that we annexed half the road. So I'd have to double check on that, but I think that that's part of it, because that, they have to go out to center line to do that. So
And that's
that
part
was
of-
part of that.
And that's part of what we're gonna fix. You can't, annex half a road. I mean, I'll put this on Councilman Brennan saying, well, Mountain Home will give you the speeding ticket on one side of the street, and on the other side of the street, it's gotta be the county. I'm like, ah! I mean, that's just insane.
Mayor, Council, if I may, with that piece of road right there, I mean, that's one of those, like, I'm gonna use South 12th that comes over the tracks and heads to west right there. That's a county road, but we certainly do, like, when they did the chip seal, we actually pitched in and got some of the chips to do that, so they could do kind of, because some of it was ours and some of it isn't. It's just how that kind of works. So we do have some different agreements with the county to be able to do things. This is one of those areas where I think that it's that we do some of the maintaining on it. If there's a pothole or things on there, that we take care of that because we have that piece right there. So we just got to sit down a little bit more with the county, with them, and see what we have with some of those. So with the highway district. So, but our street department, Gene and Louie, they have a pretty good
A good relationship.
A good relationship to team up on a lot of different things that we work on. Same thing with Smith Road.
Right.
So,
So they barter a lot?
yep. Yeah, they use some of our equipment for chipping and doing different things. So,
Yeah, Mayor. We have annexed several places that we have annexed all of the road because we knew we had to, but then evidently we dropped off some point and didn't continue doing it.
So we need to obviously fix those with the highway district?
Yep, I think what we found is a symptom to the bigger issue, which is even though we have a great informal relationship with the highway district, we need to formalize it and just come together and have a plan moving forward.
Okay.
Rock, if you stay after the meeting, I'll introduce you to Marty.
Looking forward to it.
He's the handsome man
He's the
right in the
handsome
very
man in the
back by
back.
Dave Jett. Mayor Jett.
Thank you.
All right, council, do you have any, so, I guess.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
You have a person waiting to be recognized.
We are in work session. You want to take that?
It's not a public hearing.
It's not a public hearing.
Public hearing
What
is
has
at
to do with
P&Z.
my property? Do you plan on taking part of it for the road? Because that's what you're just talking about, annexing. Where it's wonky. To make it go straight, you have to take part of my property.
How do you do that without just compensation?
That's later.
That's
That's later.
down the
Not
road.
even
Yeah,
in this
we're not
one.
even talking about that, right? I mean, we're not making any of that decision right now. So, all right, Brennan, Councilman Brennan.
And annexations.
Such one makes me a lawyer, I guess.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion, let's see here, to approve planning and zoning's recommendation for annexation zoning R4 and subsequent preliminary plat of Silverstone North by Providence Properties and adding condition number 7 of no greater than 50% sod in the front yards of the single-family homes.
Second.
Would you be so kind as to break that into two, just for safety's sake?
To what?
One motion for annexation and initial zone, and then the second one for the final plat. Just because it's,
Yeah.
the way the dominoes fall legally is annexation happens first.
Right, okay. Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Brennan.
can I adjust my motion?
Absolutely.
Make a motion to approve annexation of the Silverstone North property. Annexation.
With an initial zone of whatever it is.
With an initial zone of R4.
Second.
It's motioned and second. All, any further discussion? I'll call for the question. Councilman Stopes?
Aye.
Councilman McCain?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilwoman Garvey?
Aye.
All right. Councilman Brennan?
Can I make another motion on the same topic?
Absolutely.
Make a motion to, sorry, I lose my place here. To approve planning and zoning's recommendation for preliminary plat of Silverstone North by Providence Properties and adding condition number 7 to the conditions, condition number 7 for no greater than 50% sod in the front yards of the single-family units.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilwoman Garvey?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilman McCain?
Aye.
Councilman Stokes?
Aye.
All right. Run down to number 4, which was taken off. We'll run down to item number 5, discussion on equivalent dwelling unit. Just a quick discussion on this. We're going to, Casey, we're going to do a workshop session February 1st
At 4.
at 4 for this. Councilman McCain and I had a discussion on all that as well. So the councilman and council lady, councilwoman will be there February. We invite you to come for that day. Is that less than my 5 minutes?
I wasn't timing. Mayor, would you like me to send Casey an invite?
Please.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Stokes?
For that discussion, we will have all the charts from the building department and the code available, I know, for the public though, so that they can see it and help us work through what they see as
I think Casey's done more
inherent
research
problems.
than anybody.
Yeah, I know.
He's a subject matter expert.
He is. Want a job, Casey?
So we scheduled it for February 1st, all joking aside. So 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock.
Mayor?
Councilman
On
Brennan?
on that, Taryn, are you interested in an invite to that as well? I think you've been interested in this topic too. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody but Wheats.
I don't know.
I was just gonna say, not him, no. No, we don't need him there.
So Casey, Wheats, Dan, and Taryn. Anybody else would like to invite? Okay. Alrighty. Run down to item number 6, discussion amending City Code 2-1-3 concerning planning and zoning membership.
Mr. Mayor?
Council, or sorry, Brock, all yours.
Nope, I thought you were, okay.
Staff.
The reason for bringing this change is twofold. We wanted to make sure that we mirrored whatever was being provided by the state, but things are getting busier. Last year, we did have some special meetings. However, when we have more than 2 meetings a month, we cannot compensate our Planning and Zoning Commission for that 3rd meeting. So to compensate them for all of their time and their efforts, they sit through some fairly long meetings too. I wanted to allow compensation for up to 3 meetings instead of up to 2. And then it was also to change the membership numbers right now, which is no less than 7, no more than 11, to no less than 3, no more than 12, to mirror state statute.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Stokes?
Why would the high number be even, Brock?
The state's weird. Well, I'm not sure why it would be even. Personally, I always prefer an odd number. It helps with the decision-making process immensely. You know, to be perfectly honest, I love our Planning and Zoning Commission right now. I think they're fantastic. They do their homework. They do really good work. I would be confident moving forward with only the 5 that I have, if I did have that option.
Okay. Brock, and that brings me to my second question. I don't know if 3 is too low. I'd rather see 5 as the minimum. That's just my thought. More representation, more thoughts, better thoughts usually, and a better discussion, deliberation, and a better decision ultimately. And then I had one more comment on this, and it was basically this last word right here. And it's talking about members traveling outside of Elmore County on official Planning and Zoning Commission business may receive such mileage in per diem. I'd like to change that word may to shall, so that it's not up to whoever this person is who's deciding. If they're traveling on business, it should be a legal word that says shall, because that's a legal word, right? Legal? So that would be my only change.
That the driver shall.
Councilman.
I I totally support what Councilman Stokes is saying. The shall word, though, is great, but I think it's to say shall if requested by that member, because shall means we're going to pay you whether you ask for it or not.
That's true.
So we don't know what the mileage is. So when they put in a request, then we pay them. Secondly, to back up your argument for a minimum of 5, I support that, and here's why. As it's written, it says that no more than 1/3 of such membership may be an ex officio member by virtue of public office or position held in the city. So in my mind, that says a city staffer could hold one position. And secondly, at least one member may be an Idaho resident living outside the city limits. So if I think of that, I have one city staff and one county resident, and that leaves one city resident on that board to make recommendations for the city. So I don't like that. I want to see a majority of the bodies on that board be members or residents of the city of Mountain Home. So keeping all that the same, but changing the minimum of 3 to a minimum of 5 for those reasons. And 12, we don't have to follow the state statute on this one, do we?
No, you don't have
We
to.
can be more restrictive, right?
I'd like to see the maximum be 11 to have that odd number.
Yeah.
So 5 to 11. That's my request.
That'd be my.
Mayor, I have a question.
Councilwoman Garvey?
I brought this up before, me deciding to run. It says at least one member may be an Idaho resident living outside the city. There's currently 2 members living outside the city, and that's okay?
It says at least one.
Yeah, so it's fine.
So 2 is
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
I guess.
Councilwoman Brennan?
I guess I read that wrong. That if we approve that, then it would mean maybe no residents of the city could be
Right.
on our planning and
Yeah.
zoning board.
Yeah.
So, thank you. Can we change that to a minimum or a maximum of 1 outside city limits?
Well, then we have to get rid of one.
No,
Not well.
Go ahead, Brock, really quick.
no, because we would have to get rid of one.
Could we grandfather them though, while doing this?
No, because, no. I don't think you can grandfather in because you have to meet the eligibility requirements at the next meeting and then the following meeting, and then the following meeting. So I don't think you could be grandfathered in the same way, like, you can't be grandfathered in to be a city council member because you were a resident when you were elected, and now you no longer live there.
Okay.
So it would, it's an ongoing requirement.
Go ahead, Rich.
One thing you could do with that is, like you said, the majority of the board needs to be reside within
City
the city.
residents. And not affiliated with city.
Change that sentence to say a majority must.
Just add a sentence, you add a part that the majority of the
majority of which
board
must be
a city resident.
city residents. That's the way you can do the fix.
Okay.
And I thought I read the code that says they have to live within the area of impact as well.
Correct. It does say that on the end.
So we're sure they're both.
But you need to have at least, well, I haven't read this statute for a while. Doesn't it say that at least one member has to be within the area of impact?
At least one has to be within the area of impact.
Yeah,
I don't know if
believe
it says both
that.
of them need to be in the area of impact.
Yeah, I don't remember.
We'll have to look at that.
I don't know about the other one.
I just want to make sure we're doing things correctly.
So as I'm hearing it, you want a minimum, or more than a minimum of at least 2 to 3 city resident?
The majority.
At least the majority of it.
Live in city limits.
Okay, and then the other 2 could be county residents.
No, at least one.
Or,
Yeah.
And verify the area of impact.
And
Yeah.
the area.
And verify the area of impact, yeah. They have to be within that. That's what the code said when I read it.
And the 5 and 11.
Okay, 5 and 11.
5 and 11, and please follow the statute.
Yeah, please follow the rules.
And shall if
Or Becky will
requested be
email you.
reimbursed.
If requested.
Authorized.
There you, oh, if authorized, I like that better, actually.
So does somebody want to make a motion?
So,
Go ahead, Brock.
I believe it was just a discussion.
It is. It's just a
Oh.
I
discussion.
apologize.
Okay.
To where let him put it together and bring it back.
Correct.
Since it's
Got that, Brock?
discussion.
Okay, so I'll have Tiff write it up,
I'll make
bring
you
it back.
write it up. Yeah, it'll come back to you.
So we go from here to here to there, okay.
All right, final comments. Councilwoman Garvey, got anything?
No, I just want to say thanks again. I'm excited.
Councilman Brennan?
I'm happy to be here for another 4 years.
Councilman Kane?
I'm looking forward to it.
Councilman Stokes?
Mr. Mayor, welcome Councilwoman Garvey, and welcome back Councilman Brennan.
I just want to say really quick, I want if you see them out or about or whatever, whatnot, the 726th Air Control Squadron, they helped the Parks Department clean up over 600 plants on, was it 2nd Street? So they trimmed them, made them all pretty and such. Really quick, got anything for me, Tiff?
I think so. No, just that, and then the URA,
Oh yeah, that wasn't discussed
talked about, I don't know what you're talking about.
on the agenda.
Oh, Alan.
That was a concern.
No, the URA board liked the downtown, the Christmas.
Oh.
And they really enjoyed us putting the displays within the hub building. They really liked that, so.
Paul, you got something?
Mayor and council, the wonderful Christmas decorations that we got a lot of compliments on will be coming down the street.
How many got broke?
A lot.
I know there was at least 2 or 3 that I saw.
There's always a lot of scabs that we have to fix when it comes to next year.
And I want to thank the council too. If you guys know, we did a lot this year with a lot of Christmas, so we appreciate that. You guys always support that really well, so it doesn't go unnoticed. You got anything for me, Rich? Good to the order? Okay.
Where's that building official at?
Life is good. From an economic development standpoint, we have made it to the final round for a significant project that wants to come to Mountain Home. An initial investment of $10 million with an additional 10 in the future, 60 or so jobs. I will keep you updated, but things are good. We're busy. I appreciate you guys. As always, feel free to check in.
And I will let you know, it might be triangle. Chief, you got anything for us?
Not too much. I will say that we will be testing, 29th of January at 9 a.m. Police Department, no application required, show up, sign a waiver, take a test. I'm going to start that process now. So if you know anyone who's interested, have them show up to PD and their sweats at 9 o'clock on the 29th.
29th.
Yeah, in your sweats. I like it.
All right.
I won't be showing up.
Meeting adjourned.